Everybody needs constructive criticism, including our favorite synagogue, Church of All Nations choir. So stick around while I'll be giving them the top 5 not so base moments and the top 5 absolute showstoppers for today's worship session. So stick around, let's do this.
Teenage life coach, international speaker, president and co-founder, philanthropist, best mom, all these women are all me.
Hello, global leaders. I hope you guys are so good. So, being a member of the Synagogue Church of All Nations and being a very good vocalist, I will not pass out on the chance to actually, give constructive criticism and feedback back. So we are just going to be starting with the top 5 not so good, because I believe in leaving the best for last. Coming in at number 5, constructive criticism. Worship team, okay, you need to remain consistent with the vocalists at the beginning of the service. When the evangelists are opening the service with prayer and they give a minute or two to a few worship songs, you need to really be consistent with those vocalists in training them and at the same time in repeating the same artists or the same worship leaders over and over again until they actually get used to the stage. I don't know the different complexities of schedules and practice sessions behind that and some rules and regulations that go on, but maybe consider the fact that when you actually repeat a single vocalist, even though he or she might not be good at it, but the more they do it, the more they become, good at worshiping. Coming in now at number 4, we have constructive criticism number 4, which says, be attentive and pay attention to your attires as backing vocalists, because we see everything. So do not only wear your best clothing when it is your turn to lead the church into worship, into praise and worship, but rather think about it as you are always on stage. Eyes, global eyes, are on each and every one of you. And sometimes we tune in because we're really worshiping with some of you, but individuals who are looking to see errors are not even there for the praise and worship. They're seeing behind that. Not that you should impress them, but you should absolutely be dressed your best. I've been noticing the colors, not close. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know why you guys do that sometimes. You have open colors. It's just a shirt and some pants. You didn't consider, your outfit a lot. Think about being put together. Put on a jacket as a gentleman. Put on jewelry. Put on a nice watch, a nice cross necklace, a nice tailored suit. Iron your shirts. Iron your shirts. And understand that we see everything. And I just want to really commend the ladies of the backing vocalists of the worship team. They are always making sure they look their best. Okay, 1 or 2 there that I'm going to call out soon. But besides that, the ladies are knocking this one out of the park. As for the gentlemen, there's always room for improvement. I have, however, been seeing some gentlemen who are looking really nice this Sunday. You were wearing blue and black, and there was a little bit of red, there was a touch of red here and there. I saw some gentlemen with some really nice jackets who put a lot of thought into their outfits. Good job. As for those who were just thinking, I'm a backing vocalist, I don't really have to put in that much effort, maybe you should consider doing so, because it says a lot about you. It says a lot about how serious you take your craft, how much you love it, and how much you respect the people you are serving. At number 3, vocalists need more vocal training. I've just been hearing a lot of screaming, and I cannot be the only person who's been hearing the screams, who's been hearing, sometimes really we hear more of the soprano than we do the tenor. We just don't hear tenor at all. And maybe this is, in terms of how you guys have put the system together, the volumes, how you've balanced everything out. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but we can only hear soprano, and soprano is screaming at the top of their voice. And even if it might be 4 or 5 soprano ladies, sometimes we hear 5 different soprano voices. And we all know that when you're singing in a choir, you sing in unison, and we're supposed to hear one voice from the soprano, one voice from the alto, tenor, and bass accordingly. So vocalists need more training, especially the soprano. Number 2, are you ready for this one? I hope you guys are really ready for this one. The voices always change the keys. Are you serious? Like, honestly, are you serious? So one would be singing soprano. I think the issue with the octave, there's something about when they have to transition from one octave to another. I've been hearing a lot of problems there. So maybe until the choir is absolutely perfect, only then should they consider transitioning into different octaves, because once the octave changes, you hear one voice changing into 6 keys, 6 different keys. And that is distracting. The Holy Spirit is very sensitive. Sometimes you're in the Spirit and you hear that, and immediately it's just, yeah, you get me. You absolutely get me. The number one that came today, as most of us were watching the worship session, is that if you do not know the lyrics, and if you do not know the voice that you're singing, and you guys are showing each other via actions, this is the voice you should take. No, don't sing like that. You're already giving yourselves away. Sometimes really people are not that good at music, and therefore they can't even differentiate whether you're still singing on key or not. But the moment you start looking at each other as if to say, girl, that's the wrong voice, you should be singing this voice, correcting one another on stage, we see that, and it takes a chip away from the unity of the worship team. All right, so those are just the top 5, and I hope they weren't so bad, because you guys are my family. Now, can I just get into the good stuff, because I'm feeling like I'm betraying you guys, but I at the same time feel that constructive criticism is good. If somebody loves you, they are going to correct you, and you know, I trust that you guys are wise. And Proverbs chapter 9 says that if you correct one individual and they are rude and foolish, they will think of your criticism as negative, and instead it'll create hatred. However, if you create individuals who like to be corrected and who are wise, it is the more they love you due to your constructive criticism. So that is where it is coming from. And I hope you guys can improve, because we love you and we are totally 100% behind you. Now comes to my favorite, absolute favorite part, the showstoppers, the best moments of, you know, the worship session that took place at the Synagogue Church of All Nations in Lagos, Ibadan on the 1st of December 2024. Coming in at number 5 is allowing of the sharing of the stage and the microphone. I cannot be alone in saying that that was absolute best move in terms of worship. We enjoyed hearing from different worshippers who have different tones, who have different interpretations of the lyrics, who, you know, the lyrics mean different things to them depending on the different things that they're going through. And therefore, when each different worshipper came through, we experienced a different level altogether. Now, I would suggest you guys do this, and the individuals that you chose today, absolute best. I was just hoping to see Rachel, though, you know, somewhere there in the mix, and of course my brother Michael Godwa. Number 4, the worship backing vocalists. They were particularly focused today, and that focus totally carried us along beautifully in worship, because usually, you know, they tend to lose focus and do not know sometimes when to come in, where you need to tell them where to come in. And sometimes you find that, you know, they are not coming in as a choir or as a team. It's just a few people who come in, and then later maybe a few will also catch on that you need to, you know, join the song. However, today they knew exactly where to come in. They knew how to read, you know, their worship leader, where they should support, where they should go strong, where they should go soft, where they should, you know, retract, where they should, you know, fast forward their, you know, pace in terms of music. They were very focused today, and absolutely loved that. It was impeccable. It was clean to the teeth. Again, at number 3, giving it all up to the backing vocalist of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, you know, worship team. Absolutely, I will have to say this and give you guys a huge bow, and that is, we saw the worship team joining in worship. It's one thing to sing a worship song. It's an entirely different thing to join into the worship. It was beautiful to see them worship. We saw some of them on their knees praying to God earnestly, you know, joining us and being carried along in the Spirit, allowing the Holy Spirit to take his place and giving in to the beautiful worship. We like to see that, because sometimes then we think, don't you need deliverance? Don't you really need to be driven and moved as well? You don't get moved by the Holy Spirit simply because you're part of the worship team? Coming in at number 2, I have to give it up to the media team. I know it seems unexpected because this is really about, the choir and the worship team. However, if it wasn't for the media team, who captured the moment, who captured the atmosphere, and who communicated it to us, we would not otherwise have known if the individuals were even, being touched and ministered the way we are at home. It is important to understand that distance is not a barrier to the move of the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit works inside of individuals to connect us. So the media team served as a connection point in the sense that they were all over the arena and we could see how everybody else was being touched by the Holy Spirit. Though we might say that this is not a show, we are watching for a reason, to know that we are one in spirit and in truth. So thank you to the media team. Coming in at number 2. Number 1, the first and absolute favorite moment that I enjoyed at the Synagogue Church of All Nations today, worship session, 1st December 2024, was allowing the church to join in worship without the backing of the backing vocalists and the instruments. So we used our own voice to worship. We were more attentive to the move of the Holy Spirit because we could hear more clearly. There were no drums that were playing in our ears. There was no bass guitar. There was absolutely nothing. You heard your voice when you internalized your conversation with the Father. The songs that were sang were beautiful and easy to catch on to. It is important that, lyrics during that time are not complex songs, because you cannot really expect everyone to understand a complex song and a go without the backing of the backing vocalist. However, we saw simple songs being pitched during a time when the church was requested to sing without, the instruments, the assistance of the instrumentalists, the instruments, the backing vocalist, and it was just the leader and the church. It was beautiful, and maybe you can do it more often, though not religiously. Give it 20 minutes or so, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you for that moment. Those were my top 5 not so good moments and top 5 absolute show-stopping moments at the Synagogue Church of All Nations worship session on the 1st of December 2024 at Lagos, Ibadan, at the Scoan headquarters. That was very lovely. And I will not leave here without giving you the ultimate best moment of all. It goes to worship leader evangelist Jerry, who sang his best, who ministered to his best, who looked the part. He had control of the instruments, he had control of the church, the crowd, he had command over the backing vocalist, he had control over himself, how he scales, and the key today was particularly not very high for him. His tone was beautiful, his voice never got husky any time in the process where he began to the time that he ended the worship session. It was beautiful. And his outfits, absolutely a gentleman when it comes to dressing. I loved the colors and how the choice of blue complemented his skin complexion. We loved the pullover. We loved the little chain, a little bit of jewelry there. The shoe was shiny and it was on point. The shirt was ironed. The pants were ironed. Everything was just so well. He was moving, comfortable, confident, and he was ushered by the Holy Spirit. You can tell he prayed for that service and for him ministering. That was an absolute whopper, best moment ever. So, Pastor Jerry, Evangelist Jerry, I'm going to give you an 8 out of 10. The church service is also an overall 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for joining me. Do not forget to subscribe if you relate. Do not forget to comment with your WhatsApp numbers that I keep in touch with you. Me, a global citizen, always hopping from one country to another. I just might meet with you. Thank you so much. Emmanuel, God is always with us. I love you just as you love me. We are one. Thank you.